All right. I'm surprised no one's here yet. Well, this will give me time to gently set things up. Okay. Sorry, I was checking something and the author Discord was popping, so I'm glad to know I'm not the only one struggling. That sounds so mean, but sometimes it's nice to know that, like, okay, I don't have to be perfect because there are other authors I look up to that are also like struggling and are human like I am, and it's okay to be human. So it's kind of good to like see that. I also need to like say congrats to them for sending off their book to the publisher, so I need to do that pretty soon. But today's reading is Beltane. It's going to focus on the dualistic quality of yin and yang. How do we combine it? And how do we fertilize our intentions for the rest of this spring time? So that's kind of the vibes I'm going to go for. But I'm just going to start off with message of the day before I really get into Beltane, because there's just not a lot of people here right now. Okay, I just want to check something here. Oh, I'm not sure I showcased the feathers here. In fact, let me go ahead and bring this on the desk. So, I found some really cool feathers in front of my house when I was doing the gardening a couple of weeks ago. Or, no, sometime last week. I think it was last week. I found them and I haven't cleaned them up yet. But I just really want to make something out of these feathers. I have been considering maybe jewelry. You know, maybe like a necklace. I don't know whether I should make earrings out of it, etc. But I really, really like these feathers. I looked it up from the online index. I think it's from... Oh shoot. It's from some sort of university where you're allowed to compare bird feathers across the whole US. And I found out it's a ladder or a long ladder woodpecker. And it's just really, really cool, and also a little bit sad. You know, we are trying to have our woodpeckers come back in our neighborhood, and it looked like this is a rather young woodpecker that has been like taken, and we were really hoping that they would enjoy like pecking around our trees, because our trees are just nasty and probably need to like get pecked at. But I digressed. It was just a little bit sad to like see these feathers there, but also like really cool opportunity to like use these feathers for something a little bit beautiful, you know, something I could like enjoy and keep with me, and hopefully hopefully the another woodpecker will come by and be able to pick up where this one wasn't able to. So just trying to showcase all the feathers that I have. The coloring is so unique. And there's two feathers here that are not spotted at all. So I believe it is from a different bird, if I'm going to be real. It may be from a different bird, or it may be a part of the body where they haven't developed the spots, and you could just see a little bit there, those two little specks on the edge. That's where they start forming the white spots. So I'm going to figure out what kind of jewelry I want to make out of it. I think it will be, something really cool I want to do. There was a design that I like on Pinterest where it was some beads on the feather. There's a hoop that it came from, and then there were beads on that hoop. But I have a ton of feathers here that I may want to distribute those feathers out a little bit more. So I think it's cool. I think I could be wrong. I think this is from a different bird, these two feathers here. The rest and these two are from the woodpeckers, but this, I really don't know. Maybe it is from a different bird here. And I could just be completely wrong. But I think it's just amazing, It took a while for me to identify it and figure it out, but I think it's just really, really neat. So I'll figure it out. I may post it sometime soon. I'm planning to clean them up with some soap and water. There's a way to take care of the bugs in the feathers, and as far as I know of, there's no bugs on there. I figured out a method that would be safe to do it. There's a feather connoisseur that talked about their process and how they preserve feathers. Now I think about it, I think it is from a different bird. Because it's going off a different wing, and if it's the same length as these two here, it's got to be someone else, a different bird. So I'm going to set these two aside, and I'm going to identify them a little bit later. Ooh, I forgot to get my luck thing here. A while back, someone had requested a luck reading, and I couldn't find the material. I've been so busy where I didn't update. So right now, I'm just going to take it off because I still haven't found my notebook. I've been too busy to really hunt it down and look for it. I suspect it's the one I have sitting off screen over there. But I will put it back up once I do find it. And I'll make sure that y'all have that. That phone is too loud to do that right now. Okay, there we go. Okay, so It's been about 20 minutes or so. Let me go ahead and do message of the day. At the very least, y'all on YouTube would appreciate it. And I'll put that up there for all of you. I just gotta figure out who is willing to receive what. And if you're watching this on YouTube, just letting you all know, I may not do on stream on Twitch the Final Fantasy IX stream. Words. I am expecting feedback from the editor, and they told me that they probably will give it to me sometime this weekend, and there's a really good chance I may not do that stream at all. So just a heads up, if you're watching this on YouTube, Final Fantasy IX may not happen this weekend. It may be a next weekend kind of thing. Oh, I probably should show what I'm doing here. So this is what I do when I start the streams. I try to figure out who is willing to do the stuff for today. I feel like it's this. So I'm gonna go with this, which is surprising because it's springtime. You wouldn't think this would be needed. I tend to associate this deck with like autumn, October, you know, stuff like that. But I guess there's more to it than that. So, message of the day. I'm going to do 6 cards and we'll see how it comes up. Oop, I am slipping forward in my chair. Now, while I was waiting, I am still revising my 3rd book. I'm halfway through the first phase of looking it over. For all revisions, you do your first look over. You always take some time off to step away from it and consider, you know, try to see it with fresh eyes. Try to be that beta reader that's looking at it for the first time ever. And, you know, take notes on, you know, what strikes you a little bit confusing, what is good that you want to keep, what parts of it you enjoy, what parts of it you don't enjoy in this first reading, and try to see it from, you know, fresh eyes as if you are the better reader. So that's the first phase I'm going through for this revision. And I already know there's some scenes I'm going to move around, and there are some chapters I'm going to have to reorganize. It's a mess. It's a good mess, but it's a mess. And yeah, for sure this. Okay. So we have a queen in bondage, the Sea Maid's music, beauteous freedom, thou art a witch, everlasting farewell, a dream of love. So those are the 6 oracle cards for message of the day. Oh no. There we go. Since no one is here live, you could always pause this video, and you can, if you so desire, do a pick a card reading, whichever card really speaks to you, that you're keen on saying, oh, my gut is telling me to go for this reading. You're more than welcome to do so. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and step right into it and start reading whatever message that really resonates with you, like, oh geez, I really need to hear it. Go ahead and take that message with you. Don't try to force others into your mindset. It's a little bit loosey-goosey on this point. I just figured that if this is a message you really need to hear, it will just pop out for you. Okay, a queen in bondage. So we're going to start from here and go across Essa. Oh, I cut off my sentence as soon as I dealt the cards. What I'm planning to do after this first phase of looking at everything, I'm planning on seeing if the plot is plotting the way it should. There's a whole bunch of YouTube videos out there, including on my channel, about like plot story structures. I'm looking at that also. And I'm also going to look at the character interactions with the theme and the villain. There's a whole character development thing where it deeply ties with the plot. The plot can't be resolved until the character's inner conflict is resolved. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, I need to make sure everything is all tight before I really continue. So that's what's really coming out to me as I was reading through this work. On top of like everything else that's going on, I think the major thing that's going to destroy some major scenes, or at least reshape it, rewrite it in a certain way, is just really making sure the character is truly having the emotional stakes in the story. That's going to be my biggest hurdle for this third book, I think. So, wish me luck, because I think this revision is going to be like a total, not a total renovation, but like, it's going to be a huge overhaul and changing POVs, I think. Oh, 29. Okay. Queen in bondage. Liberate yourself from codependency or narcissistic control. Well, that's blunt. A person, group, or situation may be siphoning off your power. At first, this may have seemed like a desirable arrangement for you. Perhaps you were flattered by the attention, enraptured by the possibilities, or otherwise believed the relationship, collaboration, or agreement to be respectful, productive, or mutually beneficial. Alas, things were not what they seemed. Looking back, perhaps you could see there were some warning signs. Whether you can or can't, you must forgive yourself. No one escapes this life without, at one time or another, being disappointed or disillusioned. Berating yourself won't help. Neither will punishing yourself by remaining in chains indefinitely. Your best course of action involves in 2 steps. First, admit you are in a bind. Then, consider your friends, family members, and allies. Also, consider others who might be able to assist you in getting out of this situation, physically, mentally, or emotionally. Who do you know, or who might you enlist to help unlock your chains and set you free? Ask that person for help. Do not omit the asking. No queen has ever defended her crown without the help of counselors, protectors, healers, and champions. And even queens take missteps or make choices they later regret. We all must be able to reveal our vulnerabilities to at least a trusted view so we can receive the support and guidance we need. Someone may try to convince you that you have an obligation to stay in the situation one more day or until some future event occurs or old debt is repaid. Do not believe this. You are a winged being by right, light, bright, joyful, and free, like a seagull in sunlight designed to soar above the sparkling waves. Call your true nature back to you now. Invoke the support you need so you can step out of your bondage and fly. Okay, ads are going to come in for the live viewers, but I'm just going to yip a little bit about this. Well, any live viewers here? No, I guess not. A lot of people are financially constrained right now. There have been reports of people putting their groceries on layaways or other necessities on a buy now, pay later kind of scheme, which is like a downward spiral that you can't really get out of because the interest rates are like phenomenal, right? A $12 burrito can end up like $64 down the road, that type of thing. There are institutions and people that are still able to provide resources and care that you are needing. It's okay to ask for help and try to get help if you are like financially destabilized. And you're not the only one. Absolutely, you're not the only one. So if you feel like, oh no, I shouldn't be in this, mess of trouble, if I shouldn't be in this kind of predicament, you're not the only one dealing with this. This is not a you situation. It's not your fault for getting into that situation in the first place. A lot of people are very cash strapped right now, trying to get the resources that they need in order to survive. Even someone who's working as a white collar worker, like a secretary position, still has, they have to pinch their pennies, trying to get like just the fundamentals. In order to have a sort of comfortable life. And it's kind of like a month-to-month kind of situation. There are ways to find a way out of this, or breaking those chains that have bind you, or getting out of a situation that prevents you from getting the proper care or service that you need to take care of yourself or your family. And it's just a matter of, recognizing that it is a problem that you ended up in. It is, forgiving yourself and like allowing yourself, the grace to like look for help, and then do try to track down that help. It's not a doomed kind of situation. You can go and look and get help. You just got to get into that right mental mindset to find the help that you need and go there. Now, usually this card also pops up for like other situations other than finances, but with the current state of things, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are feeling this type of constraint. Not everyone is in a toxic workplace. Not everyone is in a toxic relationship. So if you're feeling this, but you're not dealing with that type of toxicity that's going on, or like you feel like you're being duped, it could also be commenting on this other aspect of your life. Okay. Moving on. Card number 2. The Seamates Music 3-8. 38. Heal through creativity. It's kind of like answering, well, how do I forgive myself? How do I heal? It kind of like answers to that part. If you're asking that after card number 1. Heal through creativity. The longing within you holds great beauty. To reveal that beauty, channel your pain into art. It is a great error to believe that a life should be filled with only sunlight and cheerful songs in major keys. It is an expectation that can never be met, and for those who wish to live fully, it is an idea that holds no allure. Of course, if you do nothing but wallow endlessly in sadness, such behavior will quickly become boring both for others and for you. By hiding your melancholy away from yourself and the world will bring grave stagnation to your inner landscape. It will not fail to fester and become toxic. Art is the alchemy that transforms your painful emotion into something that heals. Heal yourself and others now by creating music, visual art, poetry, a book, an essay, a story, or a play. Or perhaps you would prefer to prepare a performance of some kind. But whatever you create, put your heartache into it. Do not edit out or conceal your anger, your loneliness, your fear, or your rage. If you have experienced great tragedy in your past, make sure you find a way to include that as well. There may be immense happiness and hope in your artwork as well. But God is forbid that is all you share. To characterize this life experience as anything less than the full spectrum of light and darkness is to prolong your own loneliness and the loneliness of others. To restrict yourself to the bright side is to refuse to look at the truth, which means your life has become a lie. As you well know, everyone you love will one day die. I like how blunt this book is. She doesn't hold back. Everything you love will one day pass away. This gives you reason to mourn, but it also reminds you to enjoy what you have while it lasts. What's more, we are here without explanation. Sometimes the mystery inspires, and other times it terrifies. Be brave and embrace it all. and put it all into your work. You may have an artistic medium already that you practice, but if you don't, choose one now and channel your feelings into it. Do not allow commercialism or desire for commercial validation to color your choices. Do not start with the thought that you're making a product to sell. Rather, focus on communicating something vital and ineffable. Find the vein of gold within your dark moods and existential ennui. Illuminate it, clarify it, and broadcast it. Find what is universal about it and share it. This will set in motion great waves of healing, both within and without. Okay. There's a chock full of stuff here in this card that I want to go over. We don't get this card often on this stream, and I just want to talk about it. When she had mentioned about, like, you can't always live in sunlight. You gotta have that darkness as well. Otherwise, living only for sunlight becomes a lie because you can't handle the truth. Let's break that down. There is an issue in this whole realm. The realm of the occult, the realm of tarot, the realm of astrology, etc. Hi, Sick Jenny, welcome in. Etc. There is an issue with toxic positivity. And it's people misconstruing what manifestation is. And they think that, if I just vibe high all the time, good things will always come for me. This is how I should always live. They don't understand that that is not a normal mode of being for humans. Humans are like pendulums. There's a balance between yin and yang, which is what I'm going to get into this Beltane readings. Oh my goodness, my accent is really coming out. Where you have to combine the duality of oneself and try to bring it into harmony, into unification. In order to move forward to the rest of the spring and eventually into summer. That duality can be about masculine and feminine, yin and yang. Could also be this light and dark aspect that I had mentioned a few weeks back, etc. You can't always vibe high all the time. You also have to be grounded here in this realm. Sometimes being grounded gives you the empathy that you need to interact with other people here. You're born here for a reason. That reason, you will have to discover that yourself. Or maybe you just don't ever find that reason and you just roll with the punches in this life, but you are here and you do something with it. And that doesn't mean you plug in your ears and go la 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 and ignore everyone. That's not how it works. By understanding pain and suffering of this realm will help you understand empathy and compassion. That empathy and compassion actually helps you understand as a soul how to be a better being. It makes you understand that, okay, if I'm in the same situation as this person, I too want a little bit of relief. I too want a little bit of help. It's how some people get into charity. It's how some people come up with, events to go out and help people because they understand people are starving. People don't have clothes. Some people don't have homes. Okay. Some people don't have cars to go and do the things that they need to do. That allows us to engage with our community, our people, our neighbors, and try to do a little bit of good. And that requires you not vibing high all the time. It requires you to handle the dirty truths of this world. This world is ugly. And that's okay. It's okay to understand the full complexity of the world and not make it this dark black and white that we like to do and put everything in a box. In order to progress as a soul, as a good person, you need to have empathy and compassion, and that derives understanding suffering. Understanding this. So the healthy way to deal with the suffering you are experiencing is to put it in some sort of art form. It's a way of siphoning the poison from your wounds. Art does heal. It helps us express in ways that is understandable without words. You know, you don't have to say it. You don't have to speak it. Another person could read it, or look at this photo, or look at this painting, or watch this movie and go, I get you. I understand where you're coming from. Which is why a lot of people love, YouTube shorts. It's a easy way of people expressing themselves of their situation and like their feelings of something and try to put it out there. It's a very accessible medium for a large group of people. And I know like some people put on a facade, and try to get money out of it, which is why they had mentioned don't try to think about creating a product to sell. Okay, that's kind of leading into the whole facade and lie type of thing. Look at this as a way of expressing yourself, expressing this pain and suffering that you are experiencing or you are witnessing, and put that into your work. So that way you can experience healing and inadvertently heal someone else in turn. Because someone else is out there going, wow, I'm doing this all by myself. And think that because they're dealing with this all by themselves, they think that it's their fault for getting to that situation. By looking at this art, looking at the book or comic or whatever art form it is, they're going to go, oh wait, no. I'm not the only one dealing with this. Someone understands me, someone gets me. And to put out some good ideas that could help me out of this situation, or at least I feel seen, and by being seen, I'm healed. So if that confuses you, but it resonated with you, I hope that helps clear things up. Because there's a huge tendency in this whole community, not just here in my stream or anything. I think like most people here on my channel or like elsewhere have a pretty good beat on things. But like in general, the whole tarot, occult mindset tends to go positive all the time because they're trying to manifest good things all the time. And that's just not really what manifestation actually works. It's not sustainable. It's probably the best way of saying it. So it's okay to be human. It's okay to feel these really strong, dark emotions so long you don't let it fester and put it in a medium form where you can express it and heal yourself and heal others along with it. Okay, I really yapped on that card for a long time. It's like almost an hour. I'm gonna go through the rest of this reading here. Beauteous freedom. Okay. I love this card. It always reminds me of Snow White. I think it's just the color scheme and her black hair that just reminds me of her. I just really love this card. Okay, card number 3. Admit your feelings, be yourself, find your path. Beauteous freedom is on the horizon for you. But in some significant way, you are not quite free. Not yet. You have been running from something, a deep pain that you don't want to feel or haven't had the time or space to safely feel in the past. Or you have been so focused on succeeding or surviving that you have been ignoring the wild spirit that's absolutely vital to who you are. I have a feeling this is more the latter than the former, where we have been focusing on surviving. We forgot to be free and have fun. In some cases, you may be experiencing an addiction. That addiction may have been born out of desire for freedom, but now it only serves to keep you captive to its demands. In other cases, you may have locked down your creativity, desires, and sense of adventure. You may be limiting your food intake in a harsh manner, judging or denying your sexuality and sexual desires, or refusing to allow yourself any relaxation, playfulness, wildness, or fun. Maybe you have an idea about what it means to be a good person, and that idea does not include your natural irreverence, wanderlust, curiosity, or rebellious spirit. But you need to live this way no longer. Now's the time to get honest about how you are perpetuating your own personal imprisonment. Then make the changes that will free you. Step out of your self-imposed confinement. Question your ideas about what it means to be good or bad. Where did it come from? Are they realistic? And how are they keeping you enslaved? Everyone is mean sometimes. Everyone is greedy, jealous, awkward, and petty. Everyone sometimes feels worried and alone. Everyone occasionally wants something they can't have. And everyone often wants something they can have that won't hurt anyone for them to enjoy. Release all shame about sharing in these universal human experiences. Thanks, Sig. I'll go ahead and work on that for you after this. Thank you so much for the redeem. Stop trying to rise above them, ignore them, or use them as reasons to emotionally isolate yourself, elevate yourself, or deny yourself love. Your beauteous freedom is a fundamental part of you and is accessible to you now. Tap into the energy of freedom and allow it to guide you in finding your way back to yourself. I kind of felt that a little bit. I always struggle being a workaholic. I always feel like I gotta do something. I can't relax. And it's something I've been struggling with on and off for my whole life. And it's really coming in now where I don't have to work as hard as I should to get the same level of results that I had gave out in the past. And that is something I'm still struggling with to this day. So I'm gonna have to really do the same thing. What's keeping me from like relaxing and having fun, and try to work that out somehow. So I'm in the same boat as you. That really got me. And I'm gonna look into this along with all of you. But she's not entirely wrong. There's a lot of expectations from society or like from family that is laid down upon us about like what we should do, what we should not do. And sometimes some of it should be come into evaluation and say like, really? Should we really like uphold this? Is that really gonna hurt me? Can we just liven up a little bit and not be so, austere? So I can see that. Especially with some really rigid religious beliefs. But I don't think it has anything to do with religion and all the aspects it was talking about. Okay, moving on. Thou art a witch. Work your magic. You need fear no one and nothing. You have the power to transform the situation into one that pleases you. When the witch girl... Okay, let me start over. When the witch goddess Circe discovered her magic, she began to fashion her world according to her will. While she was only one goddess among many distinguished divinities, she was cunning and resourceful. She always finds a way to work with what she knew and what she had to protect and emerge victorious. Even when she tangled with the wiliest of humans and the most powerful goddesses and gods. For centuries, witches were feared and loathed more than we were respected or esteemed. So you may believe that if you were to unapologetically exert your power and influence, you would be seen as unattractive, unlikable, or even evil. You might fear that people will whisper behind your back or shun you, or that you will end up alone and lonely. Maybe this paradigm has become so entrenched that you have willfully denied or unknowingly suppressed your power out of fear. Well, no more. You are the authority in your world. So what would you like to experience? In what ways would you like to feel freer? In what relationships would you like to shift the balance of power? Circe transformed a rival nymph into a sea monster and a crew trespassing sailors into a drove of pigs. When she was banished to an island, there we go. She made it into an idyllic domain. Your transformations may not be as dramatic, but if someone currently appears to be a rival, a trespasser, or a tyrant, or to otherwise stand between you and your desired reality, transform their role. You want a general reading with your manifestation reading? So you don't have a particular question with that reading is what I'm getting, right? There's no list. It's all through channel points. So if you want a reading, you're welcome to use your channel points you accumulate for a reading. and it's all listed there. You just gotta wait for a particular reading that you want. This is all message of the day here. And after this, I'll do someone else's reading. Okay, where was I? I'm sorry, that was a drastic cut off here. Your transformation may not be as dramatic, but if someone currently appears to be a rival, a trespasser, or a tyrant, or to otherwise stand between you and your desired reality, transform their role. A rival, trespasser, or tyrant may become any number of things: a friend, ally, peer, subordinate, or simply someone from your past whom you never need to worry about or interact with ever again. Once you determine how you would like to transform a relationship or another aspect of your world, relax. Breathe consciously. Clear your mind and come into the present moment. And when you feel ready, listen to the clear inner guidance that bubbles up from the deep. You may feel guided to seek out and perform a spell or ritual to change how you perceive or approach the situation, to ask for a specific variety of help or support, or to embody your power while clearly visualizing your ideal success. Or you might feel compelled to do all these things at once. You have an abundance of transformational wisdom and power available to you. Access it now. Okay, ads are going to come up real quick. Since no one was here for the beginning of this reading, I'm going to continue on through the ads, if that's okay with all of you. Because I feel like this is for YouTube. I put this together when no one was here. So I hope that I'm not disturbing things by doing so. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this for a second before I do. There's a lot of people right now who are really showing their true colors. Really showing their colors in being ignorant or being hateful or being very judgmental. And they really are coming out and really showcasing, their point of views. And some of them are going to try to tell you what to do, I'm sure. If you're feeling this right now, and no doubt they have been giving you a lot of headache for trying to get you to toe the line and conform to whatever standard that they have placed upon themselves. I think it's safe to say you are valid in setting up a boundary and keeping your own space, your own values, your own way of life sacred and protected. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of hate. Those who are indigenous, a person of color, anyone who's part of the LGBTQ, just to name the few, not only just, dealing with anything that is occult-like, this is coming into play as well. You do have power here to transform the situation however you would like. You just got to figure out how you want to go about it and what you want the end results to be. But most importantly, I think the bottom line here is you don't have to take it if you don't want to. You could do something about it. And you shouldn't have to be forced to do whatever they want you to do. You could change the situation to your own advantage, is what this card is really saying. So if you're really feeling this, I think it would be best to like kind of stand up for yourself, set up some boundaries, and try to transform a situation that's more beneficial for yourself in that regard. Something came up on my phone. Okay, it's just, I'm gonna have to get on that Discord after today's stream. Okay, moving on to these two cards. Forever, everlasting forever. Say goodbye. Why is, oh, Wisteria Darling, thank you so much for following. If you want to continue to lurk and vibe, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm wrapping up the message of the day here. And if you want a reading, it's going to be through channel points. And thank you so much for being here. Why is autumn so radiant and its light so golden? It is the season at the summer's end. It is a glowing goodbye to yet another happy spell of sunlight, growth, life, and warmth. Its fleeting nature reminds us of the passing beauty of this life and the ephemeral nature of all the pleasures it contains. Something is now passing out of your life permanently. A friendship, a past endeavor or dream, or a cherished chapter of your life. Faced with the ending of something, you can often see how divine and lovely it always was. Both past and present take on a luminous quality. If you are noticing that quality now, let it open your heart. Bravely feel the sweetness and the sadness of moving away from something special you have experienced and loved. It can be difficult to say goodbye forever, but that is what you're doing now, or what you must do. If you are ending a romantic relationship or friendship that isn't right for you, you must truly end it. This is not a time to desperately cling to an ideal you know in your heart is no longer possible or never was. We cannot tell our emotions what to do, so love or rage at this person if you must, but be willing to let them go, and then follow through. If someone is ending a relationship with you, respect their wishes to do so. Let go. Grieve. Feel the fullness of the pain that is there, and be willing to bid a grand and final adieu. You do not need this person or this relationship. You'll be fine without them. In time, in fact, you will certainly prosper and thrive. If a loved one is passing out of the material realm of the humans and into the ethereal realm of the spirits, you are indeed saying goodbye to the human form forever. But you're not saying goodbye to their eternal essence. That, like love, can never dissolve or die. Grief will be present, of course. Always, always breathe into the pain. Let it blossom like a rose within you. Trying to avoid pain or shrink away from it is not brave but cowardly, and it will only cause you to suffer more. But all the while, remember that you will never be bereft of this person's essence. Their body was finite, but the love and laughter you have shared is indestructible. It is beyond time and space. It abides without end. So wave and blow kisses to the temporary form that is now passing away. Let the pain be as a bracing fall wind, chilly but invigorating, a breeze that inevitably blows into every life, and treasure the love that remains. Okay, I think this is pretty self-explanatory. I do want to say it seems to enhance the previous two messages in 1 and 2. So, if you're feeling all these three, for sure, I think the unifying message is to allow this to let go, let it pass, but also it's valid to go through the grieving process of experiencing that pain and suffering. And it's completely valid to grieve. It's totally okay. That is human, and that's normal. Last but not least, I dream of love. 43. 34, sorry. Be mindful of both truth and illusion. There is no love so complete, so idyllic as a love for someone largely unknown. When your time with someone dear to you has been limited or brief, can readily perceive within them every fair and noble quality. If you love a stranger or someone you know only minimally, it can appear that this person is made of pure magic. They bring joy and delight to your soul. You feel intoxicated when you so much as picture their face. You may consequently become infatuated or obsessed. There are two sides to this. One is truth, the other is the illusion. In truth, we are all infinite, angelic, God and goddess-like creatures. We are beautiful, we are brave, we are thoughtful, we are clever. We are shards of a divine and radiant mirror, possessed of every shade and sparkle of the spectrum of the sacred. The illusion is what obscures the other truth, that none of us are perfect. Most of us are very far from it. While all the light is within us, it does not all have the privilege of shining. Some of the lanterns are broken, some of the stars are obstructed by clouds, some of the candles have been extinguished by rain, and others have been blown out in the wind. And yet when you see the perfection in another, or someone else sees it in you, miracles often happen. More lights shine, more lanterns are lit, more stars are visible, more candles are illuminated. Seeing the truth of one's perfection helps that truth to spark, radiate, and ignite. On the other hand, with time, relationships progress. If a relationship moves past the idealization stage and changes into something else, something less delirium-inducing, but more sustainable, less sugary, but more sweet. You might say that when one's imperfections become visible, the romantic whirlwind slows. In the most desirable scenarios, it becomes a gentle, nourishing breeze. But sometimes relationships do not substantially progress past the idealization stage. When the mask of perfection falls away, one or both partners may not like what they find underneath it. Or at times, there is no real partnership, so there's never an opportunity to remove the mask at all. Still, other times or at other points along the path, a relationship may still have much to offer. But one or both partners become temporarily disenchanted and look elsewhere for that luscious bliss that follows in a new love's wake. There can be a great danger here of trading in a great and venerable love for a flash and a fleeting new one. Here there is truth, and there is also illusion. For wise enough to perceive both at once, you will hold all the wisdom you need. Okay. So this is essentially the honeymoon card, the rose glasses card. If you are feeling this, it could be that you are infatuated with someone. Okay, it's possible. And there's nothing wrong in like doting on this person, or, you know, seeing that, oh, they're awesome, they're cool. It's when you start seeing other qualities that are not as stellar that come into play, whether that is like sustainable for you, something that you're willing to like work with in the long term. That's like the real trick, isn't it? Like, is this someone that you want to be with when, you know, the rose shades like come off? There is a danger, and they had mentioned this near the end, that a relationship may have much more to offer than just the flashy, romanticized portion of it in the very beginning. And it can be venerable and sustainable and everlasting. And yet some people just want that, you know, very first thrill and may look elsewhere. So it's kind of warning, like, hey, maybe just because someone isn't perfect like you doesn't mean you cast them aside. You know, just start, you know, accepting them as a human being and seeing if they're, you know, someone you want to be with, you know, have a sustainable relationship. That sort of thing. So, a little food for thought near the end. I think that really does correlate with the beauty is freedom a little bit. I think overall, it was a really good message for today's stream. And I hope that it's helpful for all of you if you needed it. Okay, we have a request. And I think that's one so far. And you want a manifestation reading. Oh wait, you said you want a general reading. And you never told me whether you want that different or not. All right, let me see. You haven't said anything. Because the manifestation reading came from the Lemurian deck. And it's about where to focus on, which is really great for the new moon. You know, it's really nice to like figure out what you should focus on, how to prepare for it, how to make room for it, and then like any opportunities you should be aware of along the way. It's a really good new moon kind of reading. I normally do those kind of readings if it wasn't for like a major event that's going on. SLG Jennings, are you still here? Can you please respond? Because you mentioned you want general as soon as you did that manifestation reading request, and I just want to verify what you meant, because you didn't say anything more about it. And if you don't respond in 5 minutes, I'm just going to move on. I hope you're okay with that. I'm just going to leave these here. And I'm just going to wait. Dear Carell, welcome in. I'm waiting for someone to respond back to see if they still want their reading. And they haven't yet. But if you want a reading, you could do so through the channel point system. If you just hang out here for a little bit, it will accumulate and you'll get the reading that you want. I'm trying my best not to sneeze. SOJ, SOT Jennings, vlogs. Please respond. Otherwise, I'm not going to do your reading. If there's only one viewer, it might just be you. And if that's the case, I may have to reject this reading. On my side of things, I only see 2 viewers, which is weird. So I don't know who the other viewer is. I'm using OBS, so I really don't know how up to date it is. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just move on. I'm not gonna wait anymore. I'm gonna give the channel points back as I always do, and if they want to request something similar later on today, they're welcome to do so. Oh wait, actually I do need this deck. I do need this deck for today. Okay. Let me just wake this up a little bit. So I'm going to do a group reading for Beltane. I'm probably mispronouncing it, as I always do. There we go. And it's not just here on Twitch, but it's also for those who are watching this on YouTube. So if you ever miss out, you can always come back to the Twitch VODs or on YouTube. I upload to both as always. But it looks like it's going to be a very slow stream, and I probably won't be on very long if it's going to be this quiet. I actually don't I don't do readings for bits or for money. I only do it for channel points. You can donate for bits, but like channel points is where like I do the readings for you. So I know I'm weird, you know, I don't do it for money, but I also don't do a list. I feel like if I do a list, I'll be like calling after people, waiting around for people who ding dong ditch me, and like it becomes really awkward real quick. Just like this moment, which doesn't really happen as often. If you're going to pressure me to do a reading for you that's not with channel points, I could just ban you. I have boundaries. So what's it gonna be? Okay. I'm not going to give you a reading unless you request it through channel points, and that's the end of it. Alright, I'm going to do a Beltane reading for the group. And go on from there. Alright, so you're watching this on YouTube or on Twitch. I'm going to go by elemental signs. Each elemental or each astrological sign has an element that is associated with them. It's kind of like a flavor text of their personality. If you like to think of it that way, earth signs are Virgos, Taurus, and Capricorns, which makes them a little bit more practical, hardworking, kind of a little bit down to earth kind of people. And we're going to do those first. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. So what we're going to look at with these readings are going to be for looking at the divine feminine or yin, the divine masculine or yang, how to combine the two into harmony, and look at how we could fertilize our manifestations. So that's kind of the spread that I'm taking from Lebenthros, and we're just going to go from there. So this is for earth signs. Okay. Earth signs. Let's see what it is. The divine feminine is about receiving. How are we ready to receive for the rest of this season? And here we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. The divine masculine is about Or should we focus for the rest of this season as we move forward with our intentions? And that's going to be the reverse magician. How to unify the two is going to be Six of Pentacles, which is not bad. And how to fertilize our manifestations. Here we have the King of Swords upside down. And what is the result of our creative work that we're also trying to manifest is the Nine of Cups in reverse. So for the most part, I'm saying that we're not really receiving things very well. In the sense of allowing ourselves to have emotional self-care, accepting things, allowing ourselves to have the emotional grace to feel things, to allow us to grieve. There is a tendency to be very stoic, with this going on. And with the Ace of Cups here, it's kind of like stifling ourselves to a certain high standard in order to kind of like move on through the world, kind of like a brick wall, if you will. And it's okay to let your walls down, be vulnerable, earth signs, and allow yourself to like cry, to laugh, to feel all the things that you have been bottling up, and just let it come to pass. So if you need to find a place to do so, you could do it in a sacred spot, like a part of your office, a part of your home. You could do it outside in a backyard or a garden, or you could go to a certain place where you could let yourself feel those emotions in private. It's going to heal you on a soul level, on a heartfelt level, if you will. And that's how you can help encourage yourself to start receiving things as they come to you and be able to handle what comes. Receive, the good things instead of shying away from it and casting it off. So that's how you can prepare for the rest of this spring season. What to focus on and what to manifest. We have the Magician in reverse, and we have the Nine of Cups in reverse as well. Let me double check real quick the Magician first, because I know it's about frustrations, about like trying to manifest things. I just need to look at that. Okay. Okay. We are dealing with this really strong emotion, kind of like going over here for a manifestation for a bit. We are dealing with this dissatisfaction of where we are in our community and where we are in society as a whole. It could be as something as microcosmic as our place in our family, or our place in our workplace, or our place in our town, in our neighborhood, or a school. It could be something as macrocosmic as where we are in our nation or in our society. So it can have different layers of disappointment that we're experiencing, from a microcosmic level to like a macro. Dealing with that disappointment and trying to figure out where we are in that kind of society, in that group, in that profession, whatever it is that we're striving for. Things are just not happening the way we want it to be, and it's showing up here also with the Magician in reverse. This frustration that things are not really going your way to where you want it to go. This impatience is valid. This frustration is valid. Okay, you're dealing with delays, you're dealing with obstructions, things that was going right, you now have to pivot and go a totally different direction in order to continue to do what you're trying to do. And all the while you're trying to navigate this situation where you're like, is this really worth it? Which could lead to some level of stoicism where you're trying to have the stiff upper lip and try to carry on, which is not really healthy in that regard. So what they're asking you to focus on in this season is trying to like reverse it in a way. Kind of like a dualistic advice here. Not only it's asking you to like allow yourself some time to revel in your emotions, open up, be vulnerable, cry if you need to. It's also like try to be more flexible with your current situation and try to learn how to pivot as you go. Because that's the whole thing with the Magician card. You can't just beat your head against the wall to get where you are. You're going to have to come up with creative solutions to solve your problems. And it's going to require some out-of-the-box thinking. And it's going to be frustrating to do so. But that's the requirement here. So let me see if there's anything else I could say that could like really help. Okay, so their advice for this reading is to return to the lesson The Fool, to be free from the pressures of the current situation and see it more objectively. Stepping back can give a clearer perspective. That way your subconscious could work through the problems. So how can you learn to step back and figure out how to solve this problem from a new perspective and then tackle it in a new way? Otherwise, you're going to try to micromanage this chaos to the point where of madness, essentially. And you can't really micromanage chaos that is out of your control. You just can't. You're going to have to ride those waves. And that comes from pivoting. So how do we combine... Ooh, we're in ad territory. You know what? People are not really here. I'm just going to continue on. We have Allow yourself to have emotional self-care day. Allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to be vulnerable. And we also have do some pivoting that you need to do and try to be more objective of the situation. Try to have a different point of view to progress forward. To combine these two aspects together is going to require you to reach out for the people that support you, to find that balance. It's possible they have some advice that they could give that will help you get a clear perspective on things, and they could also help you, give you the space that you need without judgment, allow you to vent what you need to vent, and be able to offer a fresh new perspective or like a shoulder to cry on. It's one of those things that you can find within your circle to access if you allow it. So going on from the rest of May and going into a little bit of June, take the time to find people who are willing to give you support. It doesn't always have to be financial support. It could also be emotional support. It could also be a little bit of mental resource, or at least experience that they had gone through that could help out a little bit, or at least get the engines going to make you think in different ways that you never had thought of before. Almost every single generation had experienced some sort of recession. Some sort of recession in the 70s, some sort of recession in the 80s. In my generation, I experienced it in 2008. This is nothing new. It's actually a new type of recession we're experiencing, and it's historical in its own right. But some of the advices, some of the care of coming together, it's going to help you get that emotional refilling your cup that you need, and giving you the clarity to move forward, if that makes sense. To recharge your batteries more than anything through that loving support. So how do we help get this going once we are balancing this yin and yang part of ourselves, earth signs? Tapping into this King of Swords here, upside up, it requires clarity, going through the paperwork, the bills, the legal stuff, getting through all of those stuff, finding the truth, and working with that, all the facts, that's not colored on any sort of subjective level. The facts, Jack, is going to help you try to help manifest what you're trying to bring into this world, which is your personal fulfillment, your emotional fulfillment, what keeps you going in this life. We do have it in reverse. So what I'm picking up on is that once you have this balance, you could then concentrate on this. You will eventually have the clarity that you need to fertilize and finance your goals. In a way, to invest in your goals, to find the pathway to make this happen. With it being reverse, it just indicates confusion. not knowing like where to go. And that confusion can manifest in a very negative kind of way, where you think you have all the facts and you love talking about those facts, but you are ignoring one piece of the puzzle that is glaring for everyone else because you're not willing to see that puzzle and not willing to like accept it. You're not willing to like hear it, to like work out this puzzle that you have been working on and trying to solve. If that makes sense. You're dealing with a lot of confusion because you are frustrated. Let's say there's any other advice from this book that will also like help out here in trying to, what energy you need to tap into as you progress forward. Earth signs. Nope, I think that's it. That's pretty much it. Now, last bit of advice with the manifestation, the result of our creative work. Once we do have the clarity to pivot and move forward, it may require examining what can we let go. What can we say goodbye to in order to take on this new direction? So a little bit of heads up here. Usually when a card is in reverse, in my point of view, it's about going back to the lessons of the prior card, just like he had mentioned in this book. And the Eight of Cups talks about walking away from something that you had invested so much time into for something that is the most beneficial in the long run. So going back to that lesson of the Eight of Cups, what part of you do you have to let go, even though you have invested in it so much that you need to cut your ties from in order to do this pivot and move forward? It will become clear once you talk to people that's indicated by the Six of Pentacles. People who have the experience, who have the resources that you can reach out and ask for help. That have been and are willing to support you. Don't give up on your dreams. But it needs to be transformed. Just like the magician transformed things into being. Okay, so those are Earth signs. I wish you all good luck, Earth signs, for the rest of this season. Alright, going down the astrological sign wheel, we have Gemini up, which would be air signs. Air signs are going to be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. We're going to look at any advice for the rest of this spring and a little bit into June. As I go through the elements for each astrological sign, you can use your sun sign if that's all you know. You can also use the element that's very predominant in your chart. If that is typically something that tends to bring a strong message for you time to time, or you could use your moon or rising sign, and you could take multiple lessons from each one, whichever is the strongest. For me, I have a lot of fire placements in my chart. I'm predominantly fire. So I tend to look for fire sign stuff, even though my sun is in the Gemini, cusping Cancer. So you use what is beneficial for you, whichever message that really strikes the chord. I'm going to continue shuffling. That's what I'm picking up on. And I know that today is probably a very busy day for a lot of people. Probably a lot of celebrations going on in the community. If you're absolutely new and you're watching this VOD on YouTube or on Twitch, know that I don't do this for money. I know I'm weird. It could have been another aspect of income, but Twitch supplies that through subs and bits, but I don't require you to use sub or bits for tarot reading. I just want this more accessible. The only way that will help me is through channel points. So just hanging out on this channel, watching video games, you could accumulate a lot of points that way. If you want a reading, if you are not willing to invest in this channel and sit around, you're probably not going to get a lot of channel points, just saying. So just a little heads up for everyone. I do this for free, but I would like people to kind of like stick around and be here for, you know, this channel and watch. I used to do like a whole list thing for everyone last year, and I didn't have a way of making people, you know, pick and choose tarot spreads, and I tend to exhaust myself with really involved tarot spread readings, and I was just really like burning two sides of the candle. And this is my way of pacing myself, and I also like figuring out whether you're needing something and like willing to like stick around for it. There's a nasty tendency for a lot of people who will go on a stream, hit the list button, and then take whatever advice it is from the reading and then go to the next person for the same question and ask it over and over for all these tarot readers, and not really like listening to what the cards say. So I don't really care for that mentality. I feel that's very discourteous. And that helps me eliminate that issue. Okay, it's probably this. And I'm gonna do it this way. Okay, Nine of Swords. How we're receiving things. If we're ready to receive things for this season, which, not really, with the Nine of Swords here. Very oof energy. We're to focus for this season. We're dealing with the Five of Cups in reverse. How do we combine and unify them? We have the Queen of Cups in reverse as well. Okay. How to fertilize our intentions. We have in reverse Seven of Swords. And what we're trying to manifest, the result of our creative works, is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So not looking great, air signs in general. If I remember right. Alright, let me put this away. Nope, I need this book for the Seven of Swords in reverse. I knew it. These sevens are always an audit for everything that we do. And depends on what kind of auditing that we are dealing with. Now, the Seven of Swords has a very nasty reputation of dealing with people who are trying to betray us or try to stab us in the back, which is valid. Okay, it does reveal that often. But with it in reverse, it kind of turns inward, where we're doing some self-deception here. We're deceiving ourselves with some outdated modes of thinking. Which I feel like that is dealing with the Nine of Swords here, and it's really playing it hard. In order to, really manifest our goals, which I'll get to a little bit later, we have to turn this card around and be like Cersei, turn the situation to our benefit. And to do that, we have to conquer this Nine of Swords here. Nine of Swords being in the position of the yin side of things, how we receive things, if we are ready to be receptive of whatever it is that is going to come our way, we're going to have to work on our mental attitudes of our situation, or our mental attitudes in general. And find a way to either mitigate it or find a way to clear our minds of it and try to settle ourselves in order to move forward. Because this is disrupting our mental resources and fortitude to do what we want it to do. Nine of Swords deals with mental health issues, anxiety, depression, negative narratives that are running in our heads that are kind of like controlling ourselves, and it's hurting ourselves. You know, and it's not wrong. It's not wrong where you're coming from. It's completely understandable, air signs. You know, we are very social communicators. We love ideas. We love talking to people. But right now, there's this clear divide that is happening in our nation of this terrible discourse that is happening. And it's kind of hard to get away from this negativity that's going on, which the negativity is valid. Okay, there's a lot of issues that are going on right now that is affecting everyone's lifestyles. And there are ways of driving income, trying to find help. It's affecting their community, their profession, their homes, their budget. It's affecting a lot of people on various levels. And some people think it's okay, some people don't think it's okay. I dare say from the recent pollings that's going on, a good half of Americans are very displeased. Probably more than half. So, it's understandable you're in this position where you're dealing with this anxiety, dealing with this negativity, and it's kind of turned against you. To where instead of using that sword to like kind of fight off these arguments, be witty, you know, and kind of like win the day, it's kind of like used against you. So the advice here okay, there's another layer to this before I start giving out advice. It's like the Eight of Swords, but on the worst level where you become disenfranchised and disillusioned to the point where you're questioning your own beliefs. It's how severe this card is. The Eight of Swords card does deal with mental issues, mental anxieties, but this is like the taking it up a notch where you become so disillusioned, so disenfranchised with life, with, you know, your way of the world and society, etc. All the things that you had once thought of that you could depend upon, it's kind of crumbling. So this is kind of like the worst of the worst. So we do have some good news in trying to like combat this, or at least try to mitigate it, and that would be through how to unify it here. So I'm going to go ahead and move on and not dwell this particular card any further. It's just recognizing where you are mentally, and in order to start receiving things, we have to take care of this mental attitude of this I want to say disenfranchisement, or at least working with a mode of thinking that's not really healthy for you. Hi Psychic, welcome in. Glad to have you here. This reading is for air signs. I'm using the Beltane spread. It's a little bit heavy, I'm just going to warn you. If you are wanting a personal reading, you could do it through the channel points, as always. So Five of Cups. Five of Cups kind of gives us a way out in a sense. How do we, or what we should be focusing on as we move forward in this season. And it's letting us know two things. One, it's okay to grieve what you have lost, which is probably the root of this. Yeah, we have lost something, whether it's something as abstract as, say, society as large, or as something as very microcosmic, such as like losing your job or losing, you know, whatever program it is that is sustaining you. It's okay to grieve on that point. That is valid and that is all right. It's also letting us know that once we're done with our grieving process, it's okay to move forward and come to life, so to speak. The Five of Cups here in reverse talks about moving forward, accepting what we have lost, and try to reintegrate ourselves into society, into some sort of new normalcy that we are experiencing. Now, this is not the same old world that we are dealing with. After we lose someone or something, we are changed. And we are changed for the rest of our lives. And coming back to our sense of normalcy, it's going to feel different. Because you are different now. You had experienced a fundamental emotional growth that you had never experienced before without this loss. You had learned something about yourself. Your viewpoints have changed, which is highlighted here with the Nine of Swords. Questioning our belief systems and figuring out our place in the world. And now you're coming into, you know, society or your job or whatever it is as a changed person. And that's okay. Coming in with new ideas, new clarity as you move into society. And believe me, it's not going to be the same old that you're dealing with. It's going to be flavored quite differently than you had before. Not just you who have changed, but it's probably other people who had experienced the same situation as you have, that are also navigating through the same grief that they have felt, the same or similar losses that they had experienced. And in a way, as you integrate into the society, you're going to notice and talk to people who had similar experiences that you have. There's going to be a level of compassion and communication that you probably would be looking for because you have this experience. And you're going to find others who have the same experience along with you. Queen of Cups here is reversed in my point of view. Usually it's the queen who is a little bit bitter. You know, when she's upside up, she's very compassionate and creative, probably a little bit psychic, Someone who is very intuitive, who's able to trust their gut, who has a very strong emotional intelligence. When it's reversed, it's dealing with bitterness. It's dealing with this bad aftertaste of trying to move on in this world and trying to deal with this situation, but it's kind of colored very negatively. Understandably, of course, you know, it's a kind of going back here with this sense of disfranchisement and this bitterness, this jadedness. I don't think it's asking you to stay this way. I think it's asking you that in order to bring this into balance, where you can go out and do this, and where you can somehow come to terms with a new belief system that is integrated and beneficial for you mentally, you're going to have to somehow come to terms with this bitterness that's inside of you and turn it around. So let's go back to the Queen here. Queen of Cups. Okay. The best way to kind of turn the Queen of Cups up is to let go of old wounds. Let go what had hurt you. Yes, you had experienced pain. Yes, you have been hurt. Understandably. But it's going to keep you stuck. Not physically, of course, but it's going to get you stuck in an emotional and mental place where you're not willing to move on to new opportunities that are going to be there before you. That allows you to pivot to possibly a new career, a new place to call home, new group of friends, new ways of communicating or talking to other people. Hanging on to this wound, hanging on to this pain is going to, even on a subconscious level, is going to make you, it's going to make you jaded. Jaded in the worst way, where you're going to take it out on others who don't deserve that kind of heat, that kind of pain, that kind of severity. And I've been there, and I'm speaking from experience as someone who has gone through her Queen of Cups in reverse moment. Okay. You have to somehow let go of old wounds in order to move forward and keep this in balance. Keep the yin and yang in balance here, where you can manage your belief systems, or at least acquire new belief systems, and be able to move forward in life and be able to take on new opportunities and new growth. Now, moving on from wounds does not mean you forgive, okay? It just means that it no longer poisons you. When we hold on to something that is bitter, that we hang on to old hurts, we hang on to it in the expectation that old hurt is going to hurt them, whoever that them is that had hurted us. But instead of doing that, where it's hurting those who had hurt us, it's instead hurting us. We are poisoning ourselves instead of doing the justice that is deserved to like right the wrongs that we have felt, if that makes sense. It's actually not going to pave the way for true justice, righting any wrongs as we continue to hang on to it and don't let go. That could require therapy to learn how to let it go and kind of move on. That is a possibility. It could require us to do some shadow work, find ways to forgive ourselves from going through that kind of situation, find a way to like release that pain, because it is a poison at the end of the day. It's not going to hurt those who we think that hurt us. Especially something that's on a national level where it's really out of our control. It just doesn't work that way. So, if you want this to balance itself out for the rest of this month and going into June, we have to find some way to move forward without this bitter herb that's floating inside of us, and find a way to release it. Which calls into, once again, our Seven of Swords here. Our Seven of Swords is where we are inflicting this upon ourselves. This is letting us know that we're doing this to ourselves. We're deceiving ourselves. We are running with a narrative that we should not be running with. That is false. And once we take care of this, we will be able to go forward with our manifestation and goals, which is to be secure, have confidence, etc. Another point of advice is trying to turn around this false narrative that is swimming in our heads, and that's going back to the Six of Swords. Let's look at the Six of Swords here. Actually, hold on. I have it here. Which is, again, leaving something behind that is toxic. Leaving behind probably a toxic workplace that is continuing this type of false narrative that we have, probably leaving behind a toxic relationship, leaving behind a toxic environment, whatever it is. By doing so, by leaving behind that toxic mind place or environment, or maybe like social media, that social media place is probably not healthy for you. Leaving that alone will help cut off the umbilical cord that this personal narrative continues to swim in your head. So if you are not able to get any sort of therapy, if you don't have the time or luxury to do shadow work, leaving those behind, especially social media, is probably a good place to start. That will help roll the process forward. Let me also double check the Queen of Cups here. What other advice we need to hear, air signs? Okay. Welcome back, everyone, for the ads. I'm going to finally comment on the Queen of Pentacles here. So I mentioned about like self-confidence issues with this. It's just recognizing that because of the turbulence we are experiencing mentally and emotionally, we have been focusing on our career over ourselves, or our strive for our profession over ourselves, not really giving us the time to really sit down and pick apart these outdated narratives that need to be cut away and find our self-confidence again, so that way we could be in balance as we move forward with our profession and our lives, because our lives are not just our professions. Our sense of value is not our coin. It's how we perceive ourselves. So that's all it's commenting on. I'm pretty sure that once we figure this out, this will turn itself right side up, where you do have a healthy work-life balance, where you have a healthy not necessarily a domestic life, but like your sense of fulfillment and self-worth, where you see yourself as a worthy person to be here, to have, you know, the type of life that you want. Not necessarily living in a lounge of luxury, but to like be valuable and be valued as a person. In order to get there, to find that self-worth, we're going to have to cut away first anything that is toxic. We could like cut off and separate ourselves from. It could be a toxic environment, or it could be a negative mindset that is not doing us any service, that we also need to get rid of. Then we could examine what those mental narratives are and try to turn it around. And understand that the wound that we carry can be healed. Yes, it's going to leave a scar. It tells a story that you are alive, you survive this, and you conquer it. But in order to get a wound to be a scar, so that way it can eventually heal, we have to close the gap. We can't keep salting our own wound by being jaded and bitter. And that's not to say you gotta grapple with toxic positivity, okay? You can't vibe high all the time, okay? It's coming to terms with letting go of this hate and this bitterness in order to have that kind of healing that you need. Because I'm pretty sure it's like bring your self-worth down. This view of yourself is like really low because you're putting yourself into the dumps. Let's try to like bring our dignity back by respecting ourselves with dignity and respect, you know. Because we have to live in this meat flesh. Okay, we have to walk through this world with this, with our brains and everything. And we gotta be kind to ourselves. So, I hope that's thorough. I hope that makes sense. Each person's wounds and negative mental narratives are unique. You're gonna have to do the work to figure it out. Thank goodness it only mentions about this whole month and a month and a half. You have plenty of time to like get it started. It could take years for one person to get through it. But it's letting you know that if you're really brave, really want to really take on this Beltane festivities. This is the best way to use that energy to move forward. This is a good place to start. And as someone who's been there, I made it through. I made it through, and I'm sure that you can too. It took me several years to get through it. I was very upset and bitter about, being a vet tech. I was dealing with burnout, and I was not happy not finding the jobs and professions that I wanted, which led me to consider forensics and eventually consider something more clinical, or not clinical, but like laboratory. And eventually led to me being an author. It's a whole different pivot. But conquering this wound, trying to turn it around and stop being this way, it took some time. And I want to encourage all of you, if you're feeling this way, to pace yourself. Give yourself some grace to work it out. I do believe it can get there quicker with some help, with people who are professionals, who are trained to do this kind of help for you and work it out. I know that not everyone is able to afford to do so, and depending on people's health insurance policies, it may be difficult to obtain. But there are charity groups out there that are very geared specifically for certain group of people, such as the LGBTQ, where you can receive that kind of help if you so desire. So you could look into those as well to help get you started. Tarot is not therapy, but it can do a little bit of calling out to help you get started, help get you the focus that you need, and kind of help validate what you're feeling. Okay. And recognize what you're going through to give clarity to a situation, so that way you can take this information and move forward with it. But it's not going to solve your problems. Now, I yapped quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and take a small break, and when I return, I will finish the rest of the Beltane readings for all the astrological signs. We have 2 more left, and if you want a group reading, please use the channel points to redeem a reading. More than happy to do so. So, I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Okay. I'm here. I see there's no request right now. I'm gonna go ahead and continue on. And I thank you all. If you all are lurking and chilling and vibing, thank you so much for your patience. Alright, so I did earth signs, I did air signs. Who's next? Water signs. We're gonna do water signs next. There we go. So water signs are going to be Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. You can use your sun, moon, or rising. If you have a preponderance in water, you could use that as well, if you know your astrological charts. Otherwise, just using your sun sign element is just good enough. This is examining our yin and yang, trying to bring it into balance as we move forward. That's the theme for today. It's a little bit, it's heavier than I expected. It's really calling out some stuff here. And honestly, I'm feeling a little bit spicy. I'm in a no nonsense kind of mood right now. Okay, yeah, definitely this one. Okay, so how are we receiving? We're doing well. Okay, we got the world. How what to focus on? We got the Nine of Pentacles. How we're bringing things to balance? Okay. We got the same issue as air signs. Not as severe though. Queen of Swords in reverse, and bring everything down. Six of Wands. So the past couple of readings I did for other signs, I was kind of neglecting what the focus or manifestation is, because they have been rather negative, and it's going to be very difficult to try to bring those to being. Here it's pretty blatant. Most likely what you are trying to bring forth for the rest of this season is going to be successful. We have the Six of Wands here, talking about like recognizing one's achievements, getting praise for the work you have done, a pat on the back, celebrations, etc. So whatever work you have put in, you will be rewarded for it. So just right off the bat here, and it's because we're doing pretty well with our yin and yang water signs. For our yin, we have the world. The world is like the end of the tarot story. It is the manifestation of everything. Everything comes into a complete circle. And as everything comes into a complete circle, in most tales, it's usually a happy ending. And we are receiving very well for what is going to come to us. We're able to accept the rise and fall of success and failures. In this case, we're willing to accept the success and the celebration of all of our hard works. Water signs. Let me double, triple check on the wall just to make sure I am not forgetting anything else. Yeah, so we're doing well with this department. Just double checking things. Not surprised because water signs tend to be very intuitive. yin has always been the strongest asset of most astrological signs. Water is very intuitive in general, so I'm not surprised about that department. At the very least, you're willing to accept everything coming to completion, seeing it through, and you're able to accept this coming to an end, coming to full complete closure of whatever chapter it is. It could be graduation. If you all are dealing with graduation, and maybe accepting, the celebration and the experience of coming to full complete closure. It could be passing from one chapter to another. It could be dealing with a promotion, leaving one department, going to another. Whatever it is, you're accepting that closure as a whole. You're also doing well in how you're doing with your focus, and it's encouraging you to continue to focus on your garden that you have been curating, so to speak. Nine Pentacles is about reaping the rewards of your hard work, also like correlating with the Six of Wands here. So whatever you have been putting in this whole time, whether it's been months or years, this is the time for this May and the beginning part of June of accepting and relishing all the joys of this hard work. Have fun. Really, have fun. Have fun with your family. Have fun with yourself. Reap the joy. Focus on those good things. Because I think in the heart of it all, you have been dealing with some worrying, pettiness, whether it's from yourself or from others, this kind of like drama that's been going on. It's just letting you know to focus on the good things that are coming along. They're finally coming through for you, and just relish it in it. So they're just letting you know, focus on that for sure, because you are getting that bag. Water signs. You are getting that bag that you've been putting in all the hard work into. So once again, Queen of Cups in reverse. I'm not really going to harp on it as much as I did on air signs. About dealing with the bitter poison wound here, and I think it's because of all the petty drama and lies and the drama llamas that's been going on, that's trying to steal your thunder. So just like, the Circe card earlier in the beginning of this stream, turn the situation around. Try to transform this situation or this person to whatever you desire. That way you can move on from the bitterness or the dark clouds that are trying to rain on your parade, and try not to hold on this bitter wound that they have caused within you. Whatever lies, deceit, drama that they have caused, it's now over, and you could let go of those emotional ties that you had to that situation, so that way you can truly enjoy the accomplishments that you work hard for. A lot quicker and a lot more succinct. Surprisingly. But really, really good things are coming for you. Things are being completed for you. You just gotta look to those positive things. Don't worry about this person that's trying to steal your thunder. Okay? Don't try to be petty. Don't, take the bait. Don't do that. Enjoy what you have. Okay, that is water signs. That is probably the quickest group reading I have done with this many cards. Last but not least, fire signs. Sorry, I heard knocking and I really was surprised by it. Fire signs, Sagittarius, Leos, and who am I missing? Aries. Oh my goodness, how could I forget Aries? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, fire signs, your last but not least. Let's see what it's asking you to do for the rest of the season. Okay. So fire signs, we have the Magician in reverse and how we're receiving things. Welcome back everyone from the ads. We're just getting started for fire signs. So we have the Magician in reverse for how we're receiving things. What we need to focus on, which is the Six of Pentacles. How to bring everything to balance is the Page of Cups. We have the Fool, really great energy for fire signs, especially Aries, and Six of Swords, upside down. So it's kind of a similar narrative from the Earth signs. We have the Magician and the Six of Pentacles here. I think more than anything, the reason why it's asking us to do this Six of Pentacles. Oh, whoops. We have ads. Sorry. I mistook the notification for ads. We're I'm gonna have to wait. Actual ads are happening right now. So I'm just gonna have to stop for a bit. I got ahead of myself. I'm gonna double check the Page of Cups here real quick. I'm gonna get a book to look into it. I always thought I don't need it, and then I realized, oh hey, this is really tripping me up. And I always have to take a double check. Let me double check the Six of Swords. Welcome back everyone. I had a feeling to check the Page of Cups because I'm looking at the layout here and I was a little bit confused and I just needed some clarification. So that's why I'm looking at this real quick. Okay, so this is a little bit more mundane. It's probably not as deep, but for fire signs, it could be a little bit deep. With the Six of Swords being in reverse, usually when it's upside up, we are dealing with a very toxic, chaotic environment that we are encouraged to escape from in order to do some healing or self-care. Here, it's letting us know that in order to resolve the issues that are around us, some excitement is required. And there's two ways that excitement could occur. Usually, most people would take that excitement by having some sort of conflict or a confrontation. Let's just duke it out and get it over with, come to terms somehow, and figure this out. Dyslexic Witch, thank you so much for the follow. Let me go ahead and put that alert box down here. Welcome in. If you want to continue to chill and vibe, you're welcome to do so. If you want a tarot reading, it would be through the channel points. I don't do list stuff. It's just through channel points. Oh, thank you so much for using the hype emote. Welcome in. So fire signs, sometimes usually it is just dealing with a confrontation, meeting it head on, clearing the air, because usually the situation is kind of like a heavy, it's a little bit heavy, and instead of escaping it, you gotta confront it, right? But I think this confrontation is not really a battle. I think this is more of, instead of running away from one's feelings, as indicated with the Page of Cups, I think it's more of confronting your feelings instead of running away from them. And the feelings here seem to be more of a platonic relationship level, about having good relationships, good vibes. And it could stir up this need of needing a new relationship, a new person to be with, or bring a new person into the mix, so to speak. Thank you for the redeem. I'll go ahead and do that after this reading. Thank you so much. And I usually put those spaces there so you could put your question in. So just letting you know. Let's see. Yeah, so next time, when you want to do that. There we go. So I don't think the confrontation is battle, arguments, or anything like that. I think it's just confronting one's feelings, not running away from it, asking out that person that you want to date, or hey, this person's really cool, I want them to be my friend. Maybe you just need to engage with them and ask them to be your friend. So it's stuff like that. I think that's where it's coming from. With the Magician in reverse and with the Six of Pentacles, the reason why we're looking for new friendships, new people that we want in our circles, is because we are feeling stagnant and frustrated with our progress in general. This is our yin side of things, fire signs. And it's valid that we feel this way. A lot of things have been, has been like topsy-turvy for a while, right? And continues to be a little bit topsy-turvy. So it's valid that, we're not wanting to like receive things, we're wanting to do things, which is the common nature of fire signs. But this can be very disruptive in your life, where that kind of inner frustration of dealing with delays and not getting where you wanted to go, dealing with postponements, and you have to pivot, is going to come out either as micromanaging or lashing out at your friends or your family members, or like those around you, or like co-workers, etc. So it can develop in a very negative way that is as a result of you trying to manage chaos, because everything is like slipping through your fingers. So if you really are wanting to receive new friends, try to take care of the situation that you're in, that you're trying to run away from, it's probably best to go back to this Fool, which is we have here, that's supposed to be the fertile ground and like settling the situation that we're dealing with, which is the Six of Wands. Go back to this and try to step back, see things from a clearer picture. Whatever this argument is, or like whatever it is that you're avoiding, avoiding this confrontation, avoiding like wanting to ask out this person, avoiding like having friends. Where is that coming from? Fire signs. What is making you feel so frustrated where you can't really go out and talk to people? That you feel like you can't ask someone to be your friend, or like ask out to have a relationship. What's preventing you mentally that you think that you can't do that? And maybe, you think that, because I got this job, I got this lifestyle, I live in this country, or whatever it is, I can't do XYZ. Is that really the case? Really? Is that really true? So it's asking you to be a little bit more objective, seeing things from a new perspective. This is all about new energy. And try to pivot and come up with something that is outside the box. The focus here is how to get that objective perspective for you, Aries signs. It's not just staying in your thoughts, but it's reaching out to other people and asking for help, which is shocker. Okay, we like to be independent. We like to do things on our own, especially Sagittarians, or those with a lot of Sagittarius in their charts. Hi, reaching out to someone and asking for help, how dare you? But it's what it's asking you to do. And what to focus on. Focus on receiving support and care from those who love you. They're going to help you balance out this kind of stagnant, frustrated yin energy that you're experiencing, Aries, and probably allow you to create new people in your circle by creating that sense of balance. It's possible that the people who you love and support on could introduce you to new friends, could introduce you to new workplace opportunities, new areas to experience, new fulfilling things that you want to have. It's possible they could also introduce someone who you may fall in love with if you're that type of person. that is going to help fertilize this stagnation, or this, it's going to help combat your need of trying to run away from a situation. It's going to combat running away, helping you stay put, be grounded, and actually lean on people who are willing to love you and support you. But it's going to require you to actively change something. And you're going to have to meet it head on, which is typical Aries fashion. But not meet it head on as in fight, but like action. Taking matters into your own hands and being responsible. Responsible in trying to create a whole new perspective on yourself and accepting help when it's offered. And that's kind of how you could take action, which is a little subtle. It's a little subtle thing for fire signs that most people don't want to experience or deal with. It's all mushy feeling stuff, okay? But it's worth it. It will be worth it. And you'll probably get a new friend or have a new opportunity of growth. And that will be beneficial for you. And I'm kind of seeing myself in this too. So I understand where you're coming from. It's hard to accept help. And it's hard to accept people willing to support you. I'm going through that right now. Not everyone can be the breadwinner. Sometimes you're going to have to lean on the person who is the breadwinner. That's just the way life is. Okay. So, I hope that helps you all out. Fire signs for this Beltane. If y'all were just coming in and you missed out the prior readings, you can check out on the Twitch VOD or on YouTube. And it's going to be based on elemental signs. So, I'm all done with the Beltane readings, and I'm going to jump on to personal readings for the rest of the stream. But if you have been vibing and chilling this whole time, thank you so much for your patience. Going through all those group readings. And I really, really do hope they are insightful and helpful, as always. Alright, Dyslexic Witch. You asked for the past, present, future. What is your question? What is it that you want to investigate? I'm just gonna go here for a second. Okay, progress. There are a lot of things that you're progressing on. Which one? Are we talking about spiritual growth? We're talking about career or like school? You haven't gotten a reading before. Oh, so this is your first time getting a tarot reading. I'm so sorry. I didn't make things clear. So, the way I do things, sometimes you can ask a question if you want to, but if it's very private, I could just go and do a tarot reading, and we work with what is most pertinent to you. It can work in that way. Usually people come to tarot because there's a particular issue they want to examine, or they want to touch base with something to like bring into some sort of clarity, or like a what's coming up for me down the road so I won't get surprised, that kind of situation. So when you ask about progress, I picked up that there's a lot of paths that you're on. There's a lot of areas of focus or interest that you are dabbling in that are progressing. If there's a particular one you wish to examine, I could do so. And I've been slouching a lot. And past, present, future is really good because in the past we kind of like examine how we got here and what advice that they're going to point out on like how we got here. And in the future, it's just going to highlight where it's going to go. Your spiritual progress. Okay. That's good enough for me. No problem. Okay. This is your past. We're dealing with judgment, current moment, Ace of Pentacles, future down the road, strength. All right. So major life lessons that we are dealing with. That's what the major arcana is about, life lessons that we need to integrate into our lives. Let us look into judgment. I'm going to take some time to like read up before I like start analyzing the entire spread. And we're going to go from there. Okay. No. Okay, so there's a theme here between judgment and strength. Okay, so the two that are unified here, Judgment card and Strength card, is about your sense of confidence. Okay, with Judgment, it's about self-confidence in making the right decisions, making the right calls, trusting that inner knowledge, that inner confidence of doing the right thing, making sound decisions, and the inner confidence to have the strength to carry on, to go through every day, waking up every day, having that perseverance to live on, having the motivation to get through when the tough gets tough, that type of thing. It could be something as mundane of facing a fear and like socially contacting someone, facing a fear of doing something you have anxiety over. It could be like social anxiety, or like performance anxiety, whatever that you may be afraid of down the road. It's letting you know to have the guts to face it. So that's kind of like the unifying thread between judgment and strength, is trusting your gut, trusting your inner voice. In the past, you probably had already made sound judgments in the past. Otherwise, you wouldn't receive or have been considering new career or financial opportunities that are coming up to you right now, or you're starting to notice right now, which is good. In the past, you had made some sound decisions to lead to this point. And now you're kind of a little bit doubting yourself because you don't know where to go with these opportunities that are coming at your doorstep. So long you lead with self-confidence and conviction, you can't really go wrong with where you want to go, even on a spiritual level. Trusting that inner voice that had guided you to this present moment is going to go far for you. It's going to give you that kind of sense of confidence to tackle on any new projects, difficulties that life throws at you. It's where that inner strength comes in. And if you falter just a little bit, it's totally okay. It's totally valid. Just remember the lessons that you had experienced in the past of making the right calls and making the right decisions, and don't doubt yourself. Don't forget where you come from. And it may not be just career opportunities. It could be like professional opportunities too. It could be about what you want to do in your life it could be craftsman, it could be tradesman, or like a tradesperson. Sorry. These old languages tend to be very gendered. Whatever you desire to create your craft, do so with confidence. That's kind of like the life lesson you're dealing with. Talking with yourself, not doubting yourself. I hope that makes sense. Okay, good. Oh, and you're very much welcome. I hope that helps. Even if whatever situation you're dealing with, usually you know how to make the right decisions. So long you are able to listen to that inner voice. And I think you got it. so much for requesting a tarot reading. I really appreciate it. Anyone else that wants to have a tarot reading at this time? I still have some stream left. About like 40 minutes left of stream. I already did all the group readings. So this will be last call. If you have any channel points, you're welcome to use those. Ooh, ads may be kicking in a couple of minutes. I'm just letting you all know. So, if you need more time, that's totally cool. Otherwise, I could just chill and vibe, and y'all could like ask questions about anything. Or maybe I could do like an oracle card for everyone. We'll see. Let me see if there's anything that is going on my phone. No, it looks like it's clear. Oh, nope, never mind. There was a Discord notification. Okay. I did not expect that fire reading for Beltane to really get to me. In the sense where like it really resonated with me. Sometimes I take on the air signs with my sun being in Gemini. Even though it's cusp being, Cancer, I do feel that it's more like an air sign. But with this fire reading that's that I made today, I realized, oh, maybe I should, just accept the help that comes. Which it's been a struggle for me. I always view myself as a fairly independent person, or at least try to be an independent person. And it's just kind of hard to like accept help when it's given, You kind of don't want to be like a burden. Or not really like a burden, but like you don't want to accidentally deplete someone's reserves if you think that you can do it yourself. That's kind of like the mentality I had for the longest time. And I didn't realize that usually people offer it out of kindness, not because they have to. And it's probably kind in turn to accept it, just to maintain like healthy relationships and friendships. Okay, ad break should be over. Welcome back everyone from the ads. I'm going to go ahead and do an oracle reading for everyone who's here. See what the major takeaway is from Beltane. And this is from Queen Mab, Queen of the Fairies. What shall we take away from this May Day celebration that we're Oh, a little bit of warning that I have a lot of you here. I may not be able to stream this coming Saturday. I might have my edits from the publisher coming in this weekend. And when that's handed back to me, I usually have just a week to work on it. And that requires me to like fully focus completely to get things done. And that requires me not to like be on social media or like here on Twitch. It's a whole day effort for me. And it's a very quick turnaround kind of experience. So just a little heads up, I may not be able to do a Saturday stream, depending when I receive it. I will also put it on Blue Sky to let you all know when I do receive it. And when I'm done with those type of edits and giving them my feedback, I will be back on Twitch. Don't worry. There's also a possibility I may not be here next week on Wednesday because of it too, depending on how extensive the work is. So just a little heads up. Okay, definitely for sure. It's this top card here. The Sacred Radiance. That's going to be our takeaway from our Beltane celebrations as we head into this rest of spring season. Own your power. Claim your role. Shine your light. You're not being called to step into a divinely appointed role. Not a part of you will play like an actor on a stage, but a role you will be. Even more accurately, a role you are. If only you will admit it and locate the courage within you to claim and wield your power. The sun is not embarrassed about being the light of the world. It does not hide or dim its brilliance in order to be polite. It does not shine with shame. It shines because it must. It is the reigning monarch of the sky because that is what it was born to be. And in its steadfast and undiminished radiance, it blesses the world with life. Be like the sun and proudly embody the queen-like role that is the truth of who you are. This may be a message about taking tangible action, steps towards a cherished goal. It may be a passionate wish or a desire you have been reluctant to claim, or even to admit to yourself as a possibility. Or it may be something you have consciously and deliberately wished for. Alternatively, this could be a message about internally owning your personal authority, which in turn may inspire you to take the lead at work or in your family or community. Because we're talking about your true divine identity, your own frivolous stories are the only ones that can possibly hold you back. For example, you may be telling yourself lies about your lack of worth or ability, or perhaps you're holding the expectation of rejection, failure, or disappointment. You may be thinking to yourself, who am I to do this or that? Why would I imagine that I could even do that? Why would people listen to me, or why would they care what I have to say? What makes me so special? Or you may be so frozen with terror that you're stolidly refusing to acknowledge or perceive of what this is about. Even if you don't want to stay stuck or hidden where you are, it may feel safer than stepping into the light, where others might disagree with you, laugh at you, or ignore you. Whatever the story, it's a trifle. Unlike your divinely appointed role, it isn't momentous. It isn't eternal, it isn't written in the stars, and it isn't even real. So you may rewrite the story or simply decide to release it completely. You do have a choice in this matter. At the same time, be mindful that, like fire, the power that wants to flow through you can be destructive if not consciously wielded. Ignoring or denying it is not in your best interest. Rather than letting it consume you, take possession of this power and direct it decisively. Waste time no longer, claim your identity, and bestow upon the world its promised queen. Okay. So I could see that mostly with fire signs, talking about like don't run away from it, confront it, in the sense of like accepting whatever it is that you're dealing with. I think it's also dealing with other signs, taking the action to like kind of get rid of these negative modes of thinking that we had assumed and we think that is the true correct story, and try to get rid of it because it is not going to fit with the role that you're meant to have, that you're meant to be part of. So think on it, own your authority, own your own right of being who you are, and shine that light. Don't worry about what everyone else says. And be yourself. I think that is a beautiful message. Okay. So, last call. Last call for anyone who needs it. I'm going to wait for a couple of minutes before I move on. But I think I'm done here. So if y'all need something, just let me know. I think if for those who are interested in how I'm doing with my revisions, I am halfway through with my first phase of this revision. My first phase is just reading, the manuscript, try to see it with fresh eyes, and taking notes on what is confusing, what is working, etc. So I'm halfway through on that point. I'm planning to work on it a little bit more today. I'm really hoping I could finish it before the end of this week, because I know the end of this week is going to be hopefully some edits and have it back to me. So I know I'm going to be pretty busy from here on out. So hopefully I could finish this first phase of reading through before that happens. Okay. Well, it sounds like no one is asking for a request. I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for chilling and vibing. If you missed out any parts of this, I will upload it on YouTube sometime tonight. I have been staging the VODs for a certain time point, and I think I'm just not going to worry about that anymore. I think I'll just upload it whenever it's ready. So if you missed out any of the prior readings, like the message of the day, you're more than welcome to check back and look. And thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to go ahead and dip out, and I wish you all good luck. Take care of yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.